What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today when I talk to you about Lucid. So Lucid does have a lot of different things kind of stuck in limbo right now. So a lot of investors are just waiting and wondering if they should buy average down. At the same time, I've received a lot of comments asking when I will be buying next. So I wanted to do a video going over some of those catalysts, what I would be looking for when I would be buying next, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So post for Q4 earnings, that's the very first time I did buy in almost a year and a bit, because I did like what I heard from the Q4 earnings. It showed actual growth, and that's something that Lucid has not really had for a while, and they didn't really sound that confident in previous earnings. Q4 was definitely a game changer to me. Of course, market didn't really see it as though, because Peter just abruptly left, which in general, yes, it is a very big red flag. But at the same time, I think a lot of individuals did see Peter as a CTO type of role, not CEO. So again, I think people kind of got what they asked for essentially. But at the end of the day, there's two different ways that of course you can kind of see buying Lucid. You can see it as a value play, and I think in order for you to see it as a value play, stock price would have to go down. Luckily enough, in Lucid's case, the broader market has recovered on the days it did. The last 2 weeks, Lucid's been walking a very fine line, kind of touching that, I think 199, the low recently, kind of flirting around that too, but it did luckily enough on Friday close above this S1 of 206. But as you can kind of see right here, if it does fall below that 206, this is where you could get to kind of the mid ones. So $1.70, $1.13, that is going to be the next strong supports. So when it comes down to it, there's two different ways, like I mentioned, that you can really see Lucid. One is a value play. So I would be buying at $1.50 next, only because I feel like the risk versus reward is pretty good at that price. So essentially that is where I would be a buyer next. Or you could also see it from a catalyst standpoint. So I did like what I heard, like I mentioned, from the Q4 earnings, but now it is time to show investors. You really need to actually get the job done, because unfortunately Peter has talked a big game for 3+ years now. Every single earnings kind of alluding to partnerships, alluding to just many different things, most of which haven't come to fruition. So when it comes down to Lucid, you really want to watch for them to actually get the job done. I very quickly came to the conclusion and just wrote down 3 things. Nothing really crazy, but licensing partnerships. So we need to see that. Once I start to see more partnerships, then we actually are talking of like real business. And as I've shared with you in the past, I would rather buy Lucid at higher prices, but once we have actual catalyst confirmed, then just kind of guessing. And a lot of institutions actually do have that same mentality as well. They would rather buy Lucid at, let's say, 350 or something even higher, if we have actual moving parts and things are actually getting done. So licensing partnerships, again, I know from the beginning of time, Lucid has always speculated and its investors on like partnerships with Apple, Hyundai, many others. So licensing partnerships, I would want to actually see PRs about that. Because of course the whole Aston Martin thing was good, hyped up investors, didn't really allude to all that much. Gravity ramp up, and I guess in general that's a little bit too vague, because that could also be extended to just general ramp up, because for 2025 they did state 20,000, which in my opinion they have more than enough capable room of doing that. AMP1 right now can do 90,000, and then AMP2 can do I think 10. 2026 they'll be going up considerably, but honestly there's no reason why they cannot do 20 whatsoever. So as far as the latest data, even though it's not fully confirmed by Lucid, but the latest estimated kind of deliveries and so forth shows that they're still not really on par to hit that 20,000. So I really want to see more of a ramp up as well. And then the Touring unveil, I feel like that is also a big catalyst, only because that is showing the kind of the smaller battery pack. And so that does show more innovation occurring with Lucid. So I think in general, these are some of the things that I would want to see checked off prior to me buying. So like I mentioned, one of two things: either on a technical standpoint, you see a little bit of a pullback, could be specific to Lucid, or it could be due to broader market concerns. I think latest data even coming out on Friday did signal that the chances of a recession in 2025 are roughly around 30%. Even as well in that kind of topic, a lot of individuals have asked me like, hey, Friday, is that the bottom? Is that all said and done? I like to look at a lot of the data points, and you didn't really see that level of buying. You had a lot of volume coming from algorithmic trading, but even if we pull up Lucid right now, so this is hollow. So if we pull up Lucid, this right here was okay, but not to where it should be. So I think there is still a lot of hesitation coming from big institutions about Lucid, about the broader market. So I think it will come down to this upcoming week for data, once again, to really boost the market higher or lower. So I think it's a little bit too early to say if we are at the bottom on a larger standpoint, but again, that's kind of off topic from Lucid itself. But like I mentioned, either $1.50 in my opinion, only because it would be a pretty good value at that stage, or just actual better catalysts and confirmed catalysts, even if it is at higher prices. So that's just my viewpoint. I don't know about you, so let me know, where would you be a buyer and what exactly would you be looking for? Is there other things, like aside from these three main points, that you would be really looking at, that you want to see before you buy more? Or is it more on a technical standpoint, just saying around $1.70 or whatever else? So yeah, let me know your general thoughts. Hopefully everyone's having an amazing weekend thus far. One final thing, pop over to my Patreon. I gave kick-ass buy signals on stocks, options, and crypto. Many of them have been absolutely on point and bangers. Even ones I just put out yesterday already are kind of hitting the marks. So yeah, definitely worthwhile to pop over there and take a look. Link in the description below and also the comments. With all that, appreciate all of you watching.